What's going on, 49er faithful, 49er fan, 49er gang? This is your boy Niner Gang Podcast back in the building with another video. So definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on those post notifications so I can keep you up to date on any and everything San Francisco 49ers. With that being said, let's get right on into it, man. So this is the preview show for the Dolphins versus the Niners. And man, this is like the most epic of matchups, bro. Like I literally have a whole lot to go through, but let's get started. This will be a game that's probably going to be the most watched game of the weekend. Kyle versus Mike, the Jedi Master versus the young Padawan. However you want to spin it, the game, however you want to spin the game, this is what Kyle does very well. He gets people head coaching jobs and or coordinator jobs on other teams. Every year, Kyle's staff is poached, which says good things about what he's doing here. Now, for this game, we're going to start things off a little differently. This happened on Breezy Show. Shout out to my guy, Terradome. So I had to follow up one of his awesome sermons that he gives whenever he is on, So I heard a lot of dog talk, so I thought DMX. So the first verse of Get At Me, Dog will be flipped as best I can for the game. And the rest of the year, I will flip X's verses in favor of the Niners. So here we go, man. Y'all don't clown your boy. Make sure, what I'm saying, y'all try to understand me. I'm going to try to flip this as best I can. I actually got to change up just a few words really quick, what I'm saying, just to make sure that we get it going. Terradome, my brother, thank you so much. Flow Right, what's going on, Andy? Man, so let me change up one more thing real quick before I get it. Let's see. All right, give me a sec. All right, so we finna get it in real quick, man. It's just a little something, the real verse I could spit with no question. I appreciate that, Terradome. The real verse I could spit with no hesitation, the whole joint, like through and through, easy. But this is just something that I flipped on it. So yeah, give me a second, man. Let me get this in. It's a little early in the morning. All right. So let's get it in. What must I go through to show you shit is real? And I ain't really never gave a fuck how Dolphins feel for swumbles and turnovers. Not because I want to, because I have to. And don't make me show you what will Mac do. If you don't know by now, then you slipping. The O-line on some bullshit while Greenlaw out there hitting. Let Jimmy in the O stay pretty. The defense stay shitty, cruddy. It's all for the money. Is you with me? Get the cheerleaders while Bosa commit the crime. And when it's all, we'll transform like Optimus Prime. D'Amico forms the head. Roll out, let's make it hot. If we ain't gonna get it with them, we'll take your cap. Busting off, dusting off these dolphin figures. Tua got the biggest heart. Yo, let's off this figure. These dolphin busters never made a sound. Tyreek tried to beat Mooney and he's getting taken down. So that's just a little something, man. You know what I'm saying? I'll spit the verse again probably a little bit later and see if I can get the flow to be right. I was a little bit nervous, but, it is what it is. That's just a little something, off the top of the dome. I just literally flipped his first verse and put it out there, man. You know what I'm saying? Just for people to get a little bit hype so they can understand it. So I'm going to give it to y'all one more time, man. I'm feeling it. The juices is flowing and things are working out a little bit. So I got to get this one little bar right, but we're going to be solid. So it's basically, what must I go through to show you shit is real? And I ain't really never gave a fuck how Dolphins feel for fumbles and turnovers. Not because I want to, because I have to. And don't make me show you what will Mac do. If you don't know my now, then you slipping. Your O-line on some bullshit while Green out there hitting. Let Jimmy and the O stay pretty. The defense stay shitty, cruddy. It's all for the money. Is you with me? Get the chilies while Bosa commit the crime. And when it's all, we'll transform like Optimus Prime. D'Amico forms the head. Roll out, let's make it hot. If we ain't gonna get it with them, we'll take the cap. Busting off, dusting off these dolphin figures. Tua got the biggest heart. Yo, let's off this figure. These dolphin busters never made a sound. Try to beat Mooney and he's getting taken down. All right. There you go. You know what I'm saying? That's just a little something on top of the dome, man. The flow was a lot better the second go round. Sometimes, it takes people a little bit of time to get into that rhythm. Um, Oh yeah, man. That's definitely cool. I appreciate you, Tara Dawn. Once again, man, you were the inspiration behind this because they tried to bring Kenneth on and Kenneth wasn't ready, and I had to back that up, which is hilarious, man. I had to literally follow you after you just gave that amazing sermon that you always do. So I was like, man, I got to figure out something, and I only spit like a small little piece of that just to be able to, kind of carve my niche in the show, so people were like, "Oh, okay, this dude came on that Pterodome suck." Nah, man, he had a little bit of bars, but I appreciate that from both of y'all, man. So just a little something for you guys. X is my favorite artist, and I know all this stuff. If you've never listened to DMX, you should. He's got lessons in his music and a prayer and a song talking to God on every album. These are facts. Like X is such an intelligent person, and he's definitely gone well before his time, man. Cats like DMX and Nipsey Hussle don't come around every day, and when you lose dudes like that, man, the world is a lesser place for it. But this game has so many headlines. It's hard to choose from. Kyle versus Mike, the Miami 49ers versus the 49ers. You got Heem and Wilson talking crap. The win streak both teams are currently on. The 49ers are on a 4-game win streak, and the Dolphins are on a 5-game win streak. Neither team can say they have beaten top talents in those wins, let's be honest. The 4 teams we have beat have a combined record of 17 and 29. And 2 of those teams, the Rams and the Saints, are currently at the bottom of their respective divisions. The only possible playoff team we beat was the Chargers, and we struggled against them to an extent, and they were playing with almost nothing but second and third stringers. The Dolphins, meanwhile, are on a 5-game win streak, and those teams have a combined record of 16 and 39. Now, I know how this works. You can only play the teams that are on your schedule. That your schedule gives. So we'll take those wins, and so will the Dolphins fans, right? But to be considered in the upper echelon of teams, you need to beat strong teams. Now, the Dolphins have also another streak going, wherein the last 4 games, they were scoring at least 30 points in each game. Nice streak, but that came against weak opponents, all of whom are in purgatory and definitely not making the playoffs unless there's a drastic turnaround. The Texans and Steelers are last in their divisions, and none of the 5 are considered real threats. We played the Chiefs earlier this year and got broke off 44-23. The reason I bring this up is this is the first high-powered offense we've faced in a while. This will be a real test for the defense. Waddle and Hill are nothing to play around with. Gesicki is a pretty good tight end. Their run game is by committee with Wilson, Mostert, and Edmonds. Tua has 19 TDs and only 3 interceptions, so he's very safe with the ball and also has a good deep ball. And when he starts and finishes a game, the Dolphins haven't lost. When you look at the numbers for the receivers, it's an insane how the drop off from Waddle and Hill. The next closest receiver is Sherfield, and he has 280 yards compared to Waddle with almost 1K, and Hill just over 1,000. Almost 700 yards in difference. The leader is Waddle with 6. The TD leader is Waddle with 6. Right behind him is Hill and Gesicki with 4 apiece. So it's safe to say the main people to focus on in the pass game are Hill, Waddle, and Gesicki. The advantage for the Niners is we know Mike McDaniel. The advantage for the Dolphins is they know us. They literally have 4 ex-49ers on their team on offense, along with our ex-coordinator from last year as their head coach. While a lot of people don't see this as a problem, I do. That's a whole lot of knowledge of our system in one room, so that's a huge advantage for the Dolphins defense, right? Same with us. We know these players' strengths and weaknesses, along with understanding the system, since it's a spinoff of what Kyle does anyway. So we shall see who can outwit who and who comes away with the win at the end of the day. Defensively for the Dolphins, their leading sack guys are Ingram and Phillips with 6 and 4.5. When I took a look at the DBs, the safety, Javon Holland, has 2 picks, along with Kohu, Bethel, and Howard, are good with the passage defense. So that's something to watch as well. From the D line, Ogba, Seiler, and Wilkins. But just looking at the numbers, these guys are basic. The Dolphins have names on defense: Howard, Ingram, Chubb, Holland. So for the 49ers, it'll be the under the radar guys we need to worry about. Not now that we know about the Fins, let's focus on the Niners. We have a 4-game win streak going. We beat up the Cardinals and shut out the Saints, got by the Chargers, and punched the lamb chops in the mouth, as we always do. In that span, Jimmy has done exactly what we asked him to do, not fuck it up. Now, versus the Saints, he had a few throws. Let's not just bypass that. It happened. Got bailed out by a penalty, and the fact that Honey Badger doesn't have the arm length that BA does, that BA has. Otherwise, that's a pick in the end zone. But I digress. It didn't happen, so water under the bridge. Right? Wrong. He cannot make these mistakes against this offense for the Dolphins. Why, you ask? Because they can score and they look to put up 7 and not settle for 3. Debo is a game time decision, most likely, but if he can practice today, if not, we go with BA, JJ, and possibly Danny Gray and Ray at receiver. Could be a slight advantage as they didn't game plan for the latter two, but we'll see. We got Armstead back, so that will help the interior pass rush. The key to this game is to get to Tua early and often, taking him out of the game if possible. We aren't trying to hurt anyone, but if he's not playing, boost our chances of winning. I'm just saying. We'll look at the final injury report and see who's actually out. So give me just a quick second, and I will definitely bring that up. J.R. Meadows, what's happening? What's going on, man? Let's see here. I'm going to pull up the final injury report. Final injury report. 49ers versus Dolphins. Let's see. I'm trying to find one that's like as recent as possible. Let's see here. Because I know lots of it winds up in a situation where they'll have it that same day and it's not really a true injury report. So let me see if I can find that. All right, so for the 49ers, of course, Elijah Mitchell's out. Questionable is Spencer Burford, Omenahu, Debo Samuel, and Trent Williams. Trent Williams did have back spasms yesterday, so I am not sure what's going on. But, hopefully he's all right, man, because them back spasms ain't nothing to play around with. You get one of them joints, you lock your ass up in mid-stride. You'd be stuck like Chuck, be falling flat to the ground. I've had back spasms before. It's definitely not fun. So for the Dolphins, out is tackle Austin Jackson. Doubtful is Teron Armstead, toe and his pec. Questionable is Teddy Bridgewater and Myles Gaskin. Anybody that's questionable, you're always going to wind up having a situation where they most likely play. But that's just, that's just how it works. So for Friday practice, of course, Mitchell and Trent Williams didn't practice. Limited in practice were Burford, Omenahu, and Debo. Full practice was Armstead, Garoppolo, and Christian McCaffrey. So all those guys will pretty much most likely be in the game for the Dolphins practice, final practice as of yesterday. Teron Armstead was limited. So was Teddy Bridgewater and Myles Gaskin. Full participation in practice was Jerome Baker, a linebacker, Tanner Connor, a tight end, Keon Crossian, a DB, Raekwon Davis, a defensive tackle, Kader Kohu. He had a situation with his thumb, but he did practice. Raheem Mostert, he had full practice, and so did Tua. He had full practice. Looks like he had an ankle issue. So if you got an ankle issue, man, that's definitely not good because it limits your mobility. Tua isn't the guy to run very often, and he's not that fast. So when you think about it, you're not really too worried about him getting out of pocket, trying to boogie down the field for a couple yards. I mean, he can, but it's not necessarily the hardest of things to do, if that makes sense. So that's the finalized injury report, man. So for us, it just looks like we're gonna be solid. Just obviously no Elijah Mitchell, but we'll get to what that does for us and how that helps us in the end, as it pertains to such. So give me just a second. Let me get this thing right here. All right, so we looked at the final injury report, but the key for this offense is to put up points, period. I know a lot of people are like, hey, a win is a win. Well, that ain't going to cut it against teams with high-powered offenses like the Dolphins. With the way that the season has gone for them, looks like the Jets and the Steelers had a blueprint on how to beat them. Our defense must be careful with the speed that Hill and Waddle have. We don't have the speed to keep up with them at DB. We did bring Jack Rabbit onto our practice squad, but I don't believe we see him on the field this week. So our zone scheme is going to have to really be sound in their gaps and protections because if either one of these guys gets past our defense, they are gone. Womack and Moore are probably our fastest guys on defense, and both are on special teams. We could use them in different packages to help out with that. Just saying. Womack is a ball hawk and a bit of a speedster, and height isn't really an issue as height really isn't an issue, and neither of the Dolphins receivers are over 6 feet. I believe Tyreek's 5'11 and Waddle's 5'10. So the slot shouldn't be a big issue to handle. So Ward can roam the field if we need him to. Mooney and Demo got their work cut out for him this week. Offensively, I would love to see the run game get going and going strong. We saw Kyle show some love to Mason this week with Mitchell out for the year, at least until the playoffs. TDP and Mason will have to suit up as Kyle never runs with less than 3 running backs. Now, this could be thwarted by them calling up Tevin Coleman from the practice squad so we could see a mix of CMC and him instead of TDP and Mason finally getting on the field for some meaningful drives. I do believe if our run game gets going and the defense can slow down Waddle and Hill, we can win this game. The less time we give Tua with the ball, the better for us. Tua can throw a deep ball, but it sails at times and hangs in the air, so that gives our DBs enough time to get to the ball. I know everyone was upset about Heem and Wilson talking shit, but it's simple. He didn't lie. Jimmy doesn't sling the rock. Also, he's been along for the ride for the majority of the wins, and he gets credit for and we all know he ain't did shit in the playoffs for us ever. So defending the team, yeah, but Jimmy, he didn't lie. It's simple. It's simple. Game plan should slow down Hill and Waddle. Be mindful of Gesicki, and if their line is banged up, we should sack Tua all game long. X factor for the 49ers will be Kittle and BA along with the run game. On defense, our DBs will be will be the focus to see how well they play against top-tier wide receiver talent. I don't believe we win this game, unfortunately. This is an L for us. I believe the Padawan best master in this one, and it's a close game, like 28-25, but a good game at a minimum. So the difference, a good morning, Miss Debbie. Blessings to you. Hopefully you are feeling better. I hope that today brings you a lot of health and a lot of prosperity, and you not feeling good, so you are able to make it to the game and be able to enjoy it. If not, and you're still not feeling very well, stay home, relax, and watch it on TV. You know, you're out there in the Bay Area, so you have the fortunate thing of it coming on before anything else because, you know, typically I live in Arizona, so unfortunately I get the stinking Cardinals if it's a choice between them and the Niners. But either way, it's all good. So when you take a look at the game as a whole, it's really simple. If you look at the offense, when you look at the wide receivers, it's a toss-up. There is no one or the other. You know, when you look at Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, you go, damn, those dudes are dynamic. When you look at their numbers, it's like, wow, that's a lot. So you have a whole lot you have a whole lot of question marks when it comes to our guys because you got BA and you got Debo. And yes, the stats are nice and everything like that, but it's nothing compared to what these dudes do. Like, if you take a look at it, let's just go over the numbers and figures just for a quick moment. While I pull that up, I'm going to let my man Zach holler at y'all about my bookie real quick.
What's going on, guys? Zach here from 49ers Hive, and I just wanted to take a second to thank today's sponsor, my bookie. You know football, and you pick winners every single weekend, so why not get paid for them at my bookie? You could bet single game spreads, money lines, or parlay multiple together to increase your payouts. The feeling on Sunday when a 3, 4, 5, 6 game parlay hits is unmatched. There are low contest entry fees and over $500,000 to be won. So make it so you don't have to be a pro gambler to have some fun. Getting started is super simple. All you got to do is go to mybookie.ag and use our promo code HIVE, as in 49ers Hive, on your first deposit to secure a double deposit bonus. You deposit $50, they'll match you $50. You deposit $100, they'll match you $100, all the way up to $1,000. Take advantage of our double deposit bonus. It's right here on the screen. mybookie.ag, promo code HIVE, as in 49ers Hive. Take advantage now, guys, and make this your winning season exclusively at MyBookie.
Appreciate you, Zach. Thank you for letting the people know how things are rolling with the MyBookie. So when you take a look at these offenses and you take a look at, even if we'll start in order. We'll just go with the quarterbacks. So Tua's got 2,564 yards, 19 TDs, 3 interceptions. And Jimmy has 2,381 yards, 16 TDs, and 4 interceptions. So they're not too far off when it comes to the numbers as far as a quarterback. Tua's thrown a couple more TDs, but not much. He only thrown 3 more, and he has 1 less interception. So those quarterbacks are very, very similar when it comes to the numbers and whatnot. The real difference is Tua is left-handed throwing and Jimmy is right-handed throwing. And to be honest with you, Tua is actually right-handed. The only reason he became ambidextrous and threw like that was because of his dad. His dad taught him to throw with his left hand. Because, of course, it is a little bit harder to defend a left-handed thrower. It's harder to defend a left-handed anything. Like I've heard people in basketball say they'd rather go up against somebody that's right-handed because somebody with left hand seems to dominate a little bit more. I don't know how true that is. I'm left-handed, but I don't play basketball. That's not my thing. I only did basketball for cardio and recreation. What's going on, Brian Cope? But when you look at it, like I said, those guys are fairly good. You know, our run game, honestly, is really odd right now because Jeff Wilson Jr. is technically speaking still our leading rusher. He had 468 yards in the 8 games that he did play with us. He was averaging 5.1 yards per carry, and he did have 2 touchdowns while he was here. We have now handed the reins over to Christian McCaffrey, and Christian McCaffrey right now has 2 rushing touchdowns. He does have 241 yards. He is averaging 4.2 yards per carry on the season. And then when you have Jordan Mason has 4.6 yards per carry. Doesn't have any touchdowns, but that's because he hasn't really gotten into the game. TDP only is averaging 2.3 yards per carry. But once again, remember, these guys have not gotten on the field. I did read an article this morning that stated that they were going to get some time on the field. So Kyle is planning to use TDP and Mason. So that'll be great. I think Mason is the better runner out of the two. We'll see what TDP has to offer because I'm pretty sure with the way Kyle works when it comes to these types of situations is he will throw that full load on whoever he likes, the guy he's more familiar with or the guy he really wants on the field. So when it comes down to a situation where you have to make him choose between CMC or TDP or Mason. Like Kyle's going to look and go, okay, well, CMC can do all of this stuff. So I'm going to put him on the field for the majority of the snaps. CMC is probably going to get at least a good 70% of the snaps. He'll split that other 30, probably 15-15 when it comes to TDP and Mason. If somebody gets off and starts boogieing and they start rolling in the right direction, Kyle's not afraid to pull the trigger and allow them to be able to keep themselves on the field. He will leave the hot hand in there. He's done it before. Years ago in the 2019 playoff run versus the Vikings, it wasn't Raheem Mostert, it was Tevin Coleman. Coleman had the hot hand, and he was the one who helped us win that game. Then when you turn around and look at the NFC Championship game, it was Heen. He went insane. He went off, and he had the hot hand that game. So he doesn't care who it is. He just typically likes it to be someone he trusts. So that gives him the opportunity to be able to put in those guys, see who has the hot hand that day, and just roll with them for the rest of that. When it comes down to the Dolphins and their run game, once again, it's as I stated, it's by committee. It's Mostert, Wilson Jr., and Chase Edmonds. Now, everybody there is Mostert's averaging 4.6 yards per carry, and Jeff Wilson Jr. is averaging about 5.4. So those two are shouldering the load, so to speak, and you can respect that. I do think that Mostert will play. Chase Edmonds is averaging 2.9 yards per carry, but he hasn't been able to get on the field because those dudes have been in front of him, and those are the things that happen. So then when you flip over so if you look at it, the quarterback you could say is even. You could say it's fairly even. The only difference is that Tua throws a way better deep ball than Jimmy will ever throw in his life because we know he doesn't do that. And plus, Tua has just a little more mobility, but with the injuries that he sustained throughout his career and even so far in the NFL, he doesn't run a lot because he doesn't want to get hit. So when you look at the running backs, I'll give us the edge. I do like the fact that Jeff and Heem are out there doing whatever they're doing, but at the end of the day, it does to me seem like we should wind up in a situation where we take the crown with the run game. That's pretty much it. Even though Jeff still has the numbers here, it's a situation where, we're better with that. So when you look at the receivers, you got Tyreek Hill, you got Jalen Waddle, they've got Trent Sherfield, ex-49er, and then they've got this kid Cedric Wilson Jr. So like I stated earlier, it's a situation where the numbers drop off is so ridiculous when it comes to those guys that you would think that they don't throw to anyone else. So just a thing for you. Tyreek Hill has 1,233 yards. Jalen Waddle has 963 yards. So he's only 27 yards out? 37? Yeah, 37 yards out from a 1,000-yard season. Waddle has 6 TDs. Hill has 4. You know what I'm saying? Trent Sherfield even has 1. And who's the next guy in line that has 4 TDs? Mike Gesicki. But look at the numbers. Remember, Hill at 1,233. Waddle at 963. Trent Sherfield is the next closest guy with 280 yards. That is an insane drop-off. So that tells you if it ain't Hill and if it ain't Waddle, and then probably when they get into the red zone, Gesicki's the guy, that's literally it. They don't throw to other people. They may have a few playmakers, but they don't utilize them, not with those numbers and the way that looks. So it's definitely a little bit different. Then when you go ahead and you start looking at the other position groups, if you look at the tight ends, I'll give us a little bit of the edge. Our numbers are a little closer. BA's got 652. Debo's got 511. Kittle has 450. JJ, third and Juwan has 269. Even CMC has 202. So we don't have a drastic drop-off, so we don't depend on just one person. We depend on everybody on offense. We're trying to get everybody involved. We would love to see George Kittle have an insane game and make teams fear him again, because right now, I'm sorry, he's getting paid as a glorified blocker. And I love what Kittle does. I love what he did in Mexico City, but I want him to do that consistently game in and game out. If you put George Kittle in a 2 tight end set and you threw him in Kansas City, that man would have like 15 touchdowns a year and probably at least 1,000 yards. I don't even think the receivers would get any love. Could you imagine Patrick Mahomes having George Kittle and Travis Kelce to throw to? He would go apeshit. And these are just facts. And it's just the type of quarterback that he is. So when you come around and, you get past the receivers, you flip over to the defense. Linebackers, that's all us, man. Ain't nobody beating out Fred, Dre, and Aziz. I don't even really, it's no disrespect to the Dolphins defense, but Fred, Dre, and Aziz are a unit and a force in themselves, and combined, those dudes are sick. Jalen Phillips, we got Duke Riley, we've got Melvin Ingram, I guess who is this? Andrew Van Ginkel. Like, these are names that I don't know. I mean, like I said, Melvin Ingram, I know. You got to respect Melvin Ingram. But outside of Melvin Ingram, you got a Landon Roberts, Jerome Baker. Those are the 2 leading, tackle guys there. But what's going on, CG? Excuse me. But we got the edge when it comes to linebackers. Defensive line, there's no question that we have the edge. We're way better than they are on the defensive line. They've got some players, but they ain't got what we got, man. When it comes to the DBs, I'll take the edge for the 49ers on that one. Javon Holland ain't nothing to scoff at. Neither is Xavier Howard. But then, you go take a look at the other guys, and basically it's, you know, you got Brandon Jones as a safety. You got Kader Kohu. You got Xavier Howard. You got Justin Bethel. Looks like Nick Needham. So you have a couple of guys at Keon Crossing. Like you have a couple of dudes, but these aren't Diamondo Lenore, Jimmy Ward, Mooney, Huff, Gipp. You know what I'm saying? Even the backups, we have Tarvarius, and still George Odom is there. We have that. So the defense overall, I'd say our defense is way better than what the Dolphins bring as far as that's concerned. And special teams, I'm not really too sure about. I don't pay enough attention to special teams to really give y'all a proper assessment of either. But I'll just say that, let me take a look at the numbers. I have it up, so let's see what we got. So for returning, okay, they've been using he. He's got 256 yards on the year, averaging about 18.3. That's basically what it is, as far as that goes. And then for us, of course, we got Ray back there. He's been our main return guy. So he's averaging 20.3 yards a return. He's got 324 yards on the year. So, I mean, Ray is a little more dynamic of a returner than Heem. That's not his strong suit, but he was a special teams ace when he was here with us. That's how he wound up actually being able to get onto the field. So when you look at things and you look at things as a whole, I have to give the receivers over to the Miami Dolphins because Hill and Waddle are a force to be reckoned with. I love BA. I love Debo, but we got to get these dudes on a consistent basis of being able to do these things and, continue to take teams out week in and week out. As far as the way this game goes, I just see that we lose it by like 3 points. Like I said before, it's a small margin for us to lose. I don't feel like we have a lot to lose in this game, but it's just, I don't know, man. Something about it scares me because it's a really high-powered offense, and I know we were beat up against the Chiefs, but either way, man, we still have to be able to go out there and mix it up with these guys. And we lost to the Chiefs by 21 points. So you got to think about that, man. Like we can't be getting beat down like that, and we must go ahead and do that. What's going on, Sin? So Terradome. He says we win. Oh, is Danny Gray suiting up? He most likely will. If Debo doesn't go, he's definitely going to suit up. If not, then he'll most likely wind up being inactive. And Terradome says, nope, we win by 7. Let's see here. Terradome also says, go banjo coverage and short motion, pre-declare inside and outside coverages, safety sit in curl zones. There will be opportunities. Yes, there will. Yep, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. CG Ruta says, run defense is suspect as long as we in the game, we can run the ball. Facts. I definitely agree with that. I'm trying to go back through some of these because I've been yapping. Pressure displaces the pass game and pursuit ruins their yak yardage. Yes, it does. Yeah, 8 hats to the ball. Yes, if we put 8 in the box, we'll be perfectly fine. He says, Jared also says 3 Ps will ruin their offense: penetration, pressure, and pursuit. Penetration ruins their run game. That's definitely true. Very much so. And Andy says, I believe Drake Jackson is going to have. I hope so too, man. I love that kid. He's got so much speed. When he comes, I feel like just putting him and Bosa on the edge, if we could get 2 consistent hogs in the middle that don't get injured and are on the field consistently and are able to provide real consistent pressure, we would have way more sacks than we already do because we're already that good. You know what I mean? Like, these dudes are out there, running rugged and playing, and we got backups in. So that tells you that we definitely have an advantage. So Terradone said, Bosa, Drake, Gibbons, Armstead, get your hands up for the short stuff and be relentless for the other. That's facts, because when you have the wingspan that Eric Armstead has, he's already 6'7", people. So that's tall enough. And then his wingspan is enormous. So if you put your hands up and you're doing this and doing that, while you're out there, man, that's just an amazing thing for you. It works out well. It bodes well for anyone. So I definitely see us, having some good things in this game. It definitely is hard for me, like I said, to give us a loss in any way, shape, or form. But there's just certain times where I see a higher powered offense, and I worry if the defense is actually going to keep up. Man, the addition of Armstead back to the defensive line helps with the pressure up the gut. But then again, it's all about who's going to start next to him. Omenahu is in the top of the league with pressure rate, right behind Nick Bosa, right behind a couple, right behind some top tier defensive linemen. So we can respect that and we appreciate that, but at the same time, we still have to be mindful of it because we want to make sure that at the end of the day, that pressure turns into sacks because that's the main key. We want to make sure that that quarterback is consistently having to get up off the ground because we have put him there and we want him to stay there, typically. So as far as sacks go, speaking of that, we have 33 and the Dolphins only have 22. I'm sorry, no, that's receiving touchdowns. Let me look at their sacks. The Dolphins only have 25. So, we've got 8 more sacks than them. We are definitely good. Jared Ohm says he plays poker. We got the cards. Hopefully we got a bunch of jokers and aces up our sleeves, and hit them with a royal flush or a full house or whatever the terms. I'm not a gambling man, so I couldn't really tell you what it is. I just seen stuff in movies and heard stuff. I literally have gambled one time in my life, and I think I got back 10 cents and I was okay. But it's just not my thing. I've never really learned how to play, and, it's never been a real thing for me. But either way, that is it for me, man. Like I said, I do believe the 49ers lose by like 3, maybe even less, possibly even 1 point. I'm not giving us a win in this one. This is going to be really, really hard. If we can't get that run game going, we're going to have to rely on Jimmy to pass. And another quick thing, y'all have to remember Jimmy Garoppolo's been under 240 yards this whole win streak. So he has not gone over that. And the main issue is we're going to have to face a team that puts up points and can put them up in bunches. And we've got to be very mindful of that. If we wind up getting our run shut down by a bunch of no names on the defensive line, and Melvin Ingram and a couple of guys flying around back there, and then we will, wind up having to turn to the pass, and Jimmy has a game like he had last week, the Dolphins ain't going to put up nothing. They're going to find a way. They have the requisite weapons to do so. The Saints didn't have that. The Saints had Chris Olave. It's literally what they had because that was the only person on their team that did anything that was worth something. Alvin Kamara was obsolete. We took him out of the game. Juwan Johnson, their tight end, didn't exist. Took him out of the game. So the only people he was really throwing to was Chris Olave, and I think at the end of the game there was another guy. I can't remember his name, though. He's a no-name dude, but he had some speed, some quickness to him. And he caught a couple of passes, but that was it. But even when he was doing it, it was garbage time. Like, there was no real need for him to, they were doing what they could because they were only down 13, which tells you that's an easy game to come back in. It's only 2 touchdowns, literally. And you can find that score somehow, some way. You just got to be able to make the right move, and things have to go your way. And once you score, you get that momentum. There's a lot of things go on. But TG Ruthless says, I think we win by 3 if we win this game. Worst case scenario, we get blown out, kind of like KC. I don't want to get blown out. I want to see if we lose a close game to these guys, it makes it a little bit easier pill to swallow, strictly based on the fact that, we didn't allow ourselves to get our asses handed to us like we did against Kansas City. Kansas City just ran all over us and we just weren't ready. So you have to also be ready for their hurry up offense. They do that very often. So you just got to be ready. Our defenders have to be, where they need to be and do what they need to do. And D'Amico has to give them a game plan that says, hey, when hurry up offense comes, we're all running this play. Don't matter who on the field. Everybody knows this play or this play or this play. Like, game plan for these things and it won't catch you off guard. Terradome says, Jimmy, all he has to do is have 0 interceptions and north of 66%, and we're fine. Yes, usually when Jimmy has 0 interceptions and he's north of 66%, I do honestly believe that he is, he's fairly efficient and it helps us win games. So we don't want to put too much on him, but at the same time, if we do need to rely on him, he's going to have to come through, man. That's what you are. You're a quarterback. You want to get paid like a big quarterback. You want to be in the most important position in the NFL. You got to produce. You got to be able to get out there and give people what they want. And at least at the same time, if our defense has an off day, man, and they're not able to do everything, then we've got to rely on you to bring us back. And I mean, in basketball, it's a little bit different because if you're playing on a team full of all-stars and somebody has an off night, somebody else just picks up the slack and you just keep pushing. Because typically with basketball, you just need at least 5 to 6 guys in double digits and you're fine. You only have an 11-man roster. And most of those, there's a few dudes that are pretty much inactive, but most of the dudes, you got a full rotation of guys. So when it comes to football, it's not that way. It's a little bit different. It's the defense and the offense. And the offense's job is to go out there, score touchdowns. The defense's job is to stop the other team from scoring touchdowns. But you want to make sure that you have that dude. And I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that I have faith that Jimmy can dig us out of a hole if it comes down to our defense not having a very good day against this offense. So we'll see what happens. Terradome says, look for a big day from George the Animal Kittle. Yeah, man, George is definitely the people's tight end. His personality is infectious. We all love him. We all seem to think that he is definitely a really good dude, man. And I have no issues with him. Like I said, it's whenever I say that he's getting paid to be a glorified blocker, it's no disrespect to George Kittle from a personal level or from a financial level, because I ain't about to count nobody else's pockets. What they make is out here for us to observe and see because it's in the public eye. But at the end of the day, man, I ain't saying he shouldn't be getting paid. Hey, he earned that contract. I'm just saying use him in the way that the contract would dictate he should be used. Anybody getting paid that kind of bread should be out there catching passes, not blocking people. Yes, there may be, injuries and things on the O-line, but if that's the case and you need an extra blocker, that's what Charlie Warner is for. That's what Ross Dwelley is for, even though it's blocking shit. So I'll take that back. That's what Charlie Warner is for. So you put guys like that in and let them do the dirty work, and you let George go out there and do the finesse work, man. You ain't got nobody out there that could really cover George like that. I ain't never seen Melvin Ingram cover a damn tight end. Not like that. Now I'm talking all the way back to his days when he was there with the Chargers in LA and San Diego. So we definitely should be able to make some things happen. CMC out of the backfield looks like a good option because he's one of those guys. He's great on third down. He just boogies and gets to first down, and then we're cool. We don't have any problems or any issues. So these things pan out for all of us. But I, like I said, I think we lose this game, unfortunately, by like 3 points. Just due to the high-powered offense. We'll see. Hopefully we do win this game. I would love for that to happen, and 49ers prove me wrong. And, we go out there and show the world that doesn't matter who comes up and who comes in our house. If we have full strength on defense and we're healthy, we're coming for you. And that's it. You'll see Eric Armstead in the game. He most likely will rotate in and out. They'll just, rotate him a little bit here and there to get him reacclimated to the game. I did see something as well this morning that said Javon Kinlaw was possibly coming back. I don't expect that. It's like I've always said, it's nothing against the kid as a man, nothing personally, but sometimes, man, you got to realize football just ain't for you. He's had these knee injuries forever, and it's not going away. We thought he had it cleared up, and how many weeks have we missed him? Since what, week 2, week 3? Like he disappears, man. His only healthy season was the COVID season. And I don't even think he played all 16 games that season. So, it's tough, man. You love the kid for all the potential that he has, and you know what he can possibly bring if he's healthy. But the issue is never healthy. Same thing with Jason Verrett. He's a top 3 cornerback in the league. But if he's never healthy, can't show you that, can't make any plays for you, can't help the team get any wins. It's just how it works. So right now, I do think that we are good to go. Let's see here. Rick Muau, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you for stopping in. Thank you for coming to the stream. Definitely go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. Rick says, explain the Dolphins why the Dolphins run game is ranked 28th in total yards and 28th in yards per game. That's because they have a running back by committee. As far as that's concerned, you got Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr., and then you've got Chase Edmonds. The issue is Heem's played 10 games, but Jeff's only been there, for a small amount of time. He's played 3 games. It's kind of odd how they are that low, but it just basically comes down to the fact that, they're just not that good with their run game. That's not their strength. The strength for them is going to be the pass game. That's what they do. They throw the ball. They're looking for Hill and Waddle to get plays, to get open and make plays. Both of them are definitely good yak guys, and Waddle can get busy, and both of them have, some really, really nice speed. So that's the reason why their run game is ranked that low, strictly based on the fact that it's not their forte. That's not what they do. That's not their identity. Their identity is Hill and Waddle. Pass the ball, throw the ball, whether we can get them around the back on screens or jet sweeps or whatever, bubble screen, all that stuff. That's what they do. They want to make sure that they get those 2 the ball, let them make the plays, score the touchdowns, and that's just how life is for the Dolphins. So that's why they're there. But look, Rick, I don't like to doubt the Niners. I don't. And I know a lot of people are like, yo, man, like we gonna win. But sometimes I just have a feeling, and it didn't pan out for me, man. And I'm realistic when it comes to that. I didn't think we was gonna win that Kansas City Chiefs game. We got our ass handed to us, and Frank Clark did like he always does, talk shit. But his shit talking is validated. They backed it up on the field and whooped our ass. So it is what it is. Terry reminds, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Definitely hit the like and subscribe button. Do appreciate you. Should be a good game. San Fran home field, and if the Dolphins Armstead don't play, that gives San Fran D an advantage. But the one guy that should make a difference, if you're a top team, must-see TV. Yes, definitely so. If Armstead for them, if that left tackle does not play, that leaves the blind side open for Tua. Tua's blind side actually is on his right side, not his left, because he's a left-handed throwing quarterback. So he sees everything coming off the left. He didn't see much coming off the right. But either way, if their offensive line is banged up and it's not as good, we can feast on that line. I definitely agree with that. So I do understand you, Rick. As far as you saying why you feel like the 49ers will win, I am not telling any 49er fans to go with my prediction. Go with yours. If you feel we're going to win, then let's hope that everybody out there feeling that we're going to win, everybody out there in the stadium. Shout out to Wayne Breezy. Shout out to John Chapman with the 49ers Rush road trip. Shout out to all my guys at the Hive for continuing to be great and doing the things that they're doing. So there's going to be a few different things that we do in this game that give us the opportunity to be able to win and win big. And I hope that we do. And I just want us to continue to be going. Joey, what's going on, man? Joey, you came in a little late, bro. You missed the bars, man. You got to go back to like early in the video. Don't take the second verse. Take Don't take the first verse, take the second. The second ran a little smoother. I'll probably jump on with Brandon and the guys a little bit later to get in and get them a little bit of that heat. You know what I'm saying? It'll be the boy got bars. I'm just kidding, man. I ain't no rapper, man. I was just very fortunate to flip a few bars, and I'm pretty good with a little bit of wordplay. But at the end of the day, that's pretty much it for me. When you look at the advantages as far as the defense and the offense are concerned, we got them in the run game. I think they got us a little bit better in the pass game just because that's what they do a little more. And Waddle and Hill are dynamic receivers. Not to say that BA and Debo are not, but, you just got to look at it. And, you heard the Optimus part? Yeah, man. Yeah. When it's all will transform like Optimus Prime. D'Amico forms the head. Roll out. Let's make it hot. Yeah, man. I figured I would just try to play more towards the defense and whatnot. Next time I do one, I'll probably flip it towards the O, but we got to have like a spectacular game for me to come off of and flip bars for, because I can't flip it for the O when we didn't really do much. We only scored 13 points. Now, if I would have did that like after the Cardinals game, then yeah, you would have heard a lot of Kittle, a lot of BA, a lot of Debo references in there. You might have even heard a Jimmy reference. Because you got to give the man credit. He was the one who threw the 4 TDs, so you got it. Terry says, Miami's D is good. Is Miami D good run game, but not so good with running QB. Yeah, and that's our Achilles heel is an athletic, mobile quarterback. Now, like I said before, Tua is not that guy. I don't. Tua is definitely not that guy. He doesn't. He's not overly athletic when it comes to running, and he doesn't choose to run. He chooses to pass first because he doesn't like getting hit. Because almost they said, dude's somewhat fragile. Anytime he gets hit, he'll go down and he'll be out for a few plays. But we'll see what happens. I think we're gonna have a great time. The beauty is we're at home, man. We are at home. We don't have to worry about nothing. Even when we went to Mexico City, we was at home because that stadium was at least 95% 49er fans and 5% Cardinal fans. And then you just have some random ass people in there with football jerseys. Because football is becoming more of a universal sport. It's never going to overtake soccer as the most popular sport in the world, but we can definitely try. But CG Ruthless says only because opponents behind the Miami, that's why run defense is okay. But in this game, you can expose that run game weakness. And if we get out there and we get ahead of steam and we keep rolling, Kyle loves it. George loves it. George loves to run block. You know what I mean? I mean, literally, they caught the man some years ago when he basically bullied a dude into the end zone, flipped over with him. They caught him laughing after it was over. So, like, this is the guy that just loves to play. He just loves football in general. He's just an athlete. But I appreciate George for what he does because he makes my life that much easier. I don't have to worry about, guys really getting into that backfield because George is a fairly good blocker. He doesn't get beat very often. His technique is great. And the reason that his technique is great, people, is because he was taught very well at Iowa. But on top of that, his father was an offensive lineman. So that definitely does bode well for you. And shout out to George Kittle's pops, man. George Kittle's dad has to be one of the most amazing dads in the world, man. He sends his kid, affirmations and things of that nature, and writes him letters. He does so many different things just to keep George up for the game, before any game. And he gives these things out to the players. Like, he shares that. And George doing that reminds me of how I grew up and how I was fortunately able to, share a couple of my friends' parents, and vice versa. You know what I mean? It's definitely a beautiful thing when you can, share the love, share the wealth, and somebody's willing to be able to do that because sometimes you get stingy. You know what I'm saying? Definitely that's what the case. Sometimes people get stingy with their parents. They're like, nope, I ain't giving up nothing. Nope, that's for me. That's not for you. You didn't look at it. You didn't read it. It's not my problem, which I understand. But either way, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Anybody that's new to the stream, I thank you for stopping by. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, tell a friend to tell a friend. The more eyes and ears we have, the bigger the things we can do. I'm trying to get to that 500 mark. Once I get there, man, I'll definitely find a way to do some type of giveaway and make sure that, somebody is blessed with something as far as that goes. But other than that, man, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Stay faithful, stay blessed. Have a great Saturday. And remember, tomorrow it's going to be a battle, but that's what we're here for, man. We battle tested. So everyone, once again, stay faithful, stay blessed. Miss Debbie, please, please, please take time, rest. Hopefully you feel better. If you can't make the game, we know you'll be rooting on for from home. And everybody continue, before I get out of here, Rocky Mountain Razorback, man, appreciate you. Before I get out of here, please continue to pray for Peachy. Peachy lost her dad, and it's a rough go. It's a real rough go, man. I lost my pops a very long time ago, but it still hurts me every day. And sometimes you get into those moments and it gets even harder. So please pray for her. Continue to send her healing energy. Thank you very much, Terry. I appreciate that compliment. Please send her healing energy and continue to keep her in your mind and in your heart. We love Peachy. She does great things, man. She's one of the few female 49er reporters that we have that is awesome in what she does, that knows her stuff, that can talk football with you. And that's definitely it, man. She's definitely an awesome person. And I didn't know you got to meet Miss Debbie last week, man. Miss Debbie is an awesome human being, bro. I got to meet her, gave her a hug, hung out with her for a few seconds just to see when me and my boy Silverado Kev went down to the preseason game versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I think it was like last year. But thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate everybody. Nothing but love to everyone. out there. Stay faithful, stay blessed, and have